Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 13th of June. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is a weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week I'm looking at Fortescue Metals, Domino's Pizza, Data3 and CSL. So if you have a request, make sure you send it through to me. Make sure you share this video on social media. Make sure you've signed up to our free newsletter. And also just remember, any advice here is general only. So we'll start off with Fortescue. The great run continues. If we just zoom in here on the daily chart, we could see that there was, at the end of May, there was some weakness here, some gapping down in the share price. If we're looking at the MACD, we had a sell signal here on the MACD. But then over the last week, it has started to find some support again, and quite quickly. So what it's done is it's found support on top of the April high. So we could see a nice little sort of double bottom there on top of the high, which was the first clues that it was going to start moving again. And then since then we've had a couple of gaps higher. So for the moment, short term, it looks like it's on the move again, and should take out this high and move on possibly towards that $9 mark. Okay, Domino's Pizza. So just a quick look at the weekly chart. So we'll zoom out so we can see that the peak occurred here in 2016 and it's been on a downtrend ever since. Just having a look at the last year though, we can see that it's been finding support sort of near this $38 region. But the problem is, obviously it's found it a couple of times and bounced, but it's been dragged back to that level. And most recently when the market's gone up here, Domino's has come back towards the $38 support level. So it's now the fourth time it's testing that, which is actually a bit of a concern. So I think it's starting to weaken that level by knocking on it too many times. And I think it's at risk of falling through. So you'd have to wait and see, but at the moment I'd be slightly biased to the downside on that. Data3, so since the beginning of the year, as we can see, it's had a fantastic run. If we look at a daily chart of what it's done, we could see that the recent move has started to head vertical, so it's getting a bit overextended away from the trend. And the other thing is that overextension is bringing it right up towards the prior high in 2017. Now, if we look at the old high, we could see that Data3 surpassed it. So my concern is that it's just rushed up to it too quickly. Ideally, I'd like to see a stock consolidate under an old high, get rid of the sellers, and then you can get a sustainable move. So I think it's gone up too quickly. I think it's at risk of pulling back in the short term. So we just need to see that it doesn't pull back too sharply. Ideally, even if it does fall back under $2, we want to then see it consolidate and, as I said, just flush out any sellers without falling too deeply. And if that's the case, then it'll set itself up for a more sustainable move. Finally, CSL, daily chart. This is the start of the year. So a nice steady uptrend. So it hasn't been too exciting for many people, but at the end of the day, it's been making higher highs and higher lows. So doing all the right things. We could see a very nice move up earlier this week. So sort of a big gap and powerful move higher on volume. So that's the volume there. So that's a positive sign. So it looks like the momentum's starting to build up now in CSL. So I think that this move here is a buy signal. It's moving out of this slow range, and I think there's a good chance it'll head back up and retest the old high above $230. Okay, well that's it for this week. If you have a request, email it through and I'll try to cover it next week for you.